Hey everybody, so this is the Honor 10 Lite, and this is my hands-on. So this is a phone that kinda was released to little to no fanfare. Like, Honor did not have a launch event, it did not even have a press conference, and it didn't even send out press releases to media as far as I'm concerned. So this phone was like a surprise release. Like, it just randomly showed up in stores one day. Like, nobody even knew about it. I had no idea this phone existed until I went to an Honor press trip last week to check out the Honor View 20, and the Honor people just gave me this phone. They were like, hey, you want to test this out? And I was like, well, what is this? I didn't even know this phone existed. But anyway, this is a budget device from Honor, so that explains why they're not really putting a lot of marketing efforts into it. In fact, I wanted to do an unboxing of this phone, but I decided not to because there's really nothing to unbox. Like, the packaging is very bare bones. Like, it basically just came like this. You have a plastic case that fits over the phone very snugly. Like, so it fits very snugly, offers a little bit of protection. It's raised over the display, protects the back of the phone, and it comes with a charging brick, a cable that's micro USB because this phone does not use USB-C, and a SIM ejector tool. That's it. So I was like, I can't even really unbox this. There's not much to unbox. So you can see that the Honor 10 Lite continues the gradient color design of previous Honor phones and also Huawei devices. The phone looks really good. I like this kind of silver to blue gradient color. You know, I really like how the light reflects off of it in certain ways like this. But this is a plastic back, so it's not glass. It doesn't feel as nice as, say, the Honor 10 or the Honor Magic or any other Huawei phone released this year. So we'll go over the specs really quick. You have a 6.21-inch LCD panel with a resolution of 1080 by 2340. So that's a PPI of 415. So actually this display is still pretty dense in terms of pixels, but it is an LCD panel, so colors aren't as punchy. It just doesn't pop as much as any of Huawei or Honor's OLED displays. So it's powered by Kirin 710, which, as the number suggests, it's not as powerful as the Kirin 980. It's 12 nanometer SoC, it's not 7 nanometers, and it doesn't have the MPUs inside like the Kirin 980. So this unit has 3 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage. And yeah, 3 gigs of RAM in late 2018, it's not a lot. So this phone, while it's not slow, it's not fast. Like, anytime I open an app that I haven't opened in a while, there's a little bit of like a wait. You just have to wait for the app to refresh. So like, again, if you're paying whatever they're charging this phone for, I don't think you can complain that much. But for someone like me who uses a lot of flagship phones, coming to this, I noticed like a kind of like a split-second delay between every app that I try to open. Like, it's just not that fast. On the back, you have dual camera, but you know, dual camera because this is a budget device, so Honor obviously didn't really put in really high-end internals in here. So this main camera sensor is a 13 megapixel lens with an f1.8 aperture. Honor did not reveal sensor size like micron pixel, but I'm pretty sure it's relatively small because the camera is just so-so. The second camera is just a depth sensor, 2 megapixel depth sensor, so really doesn't do anything other than produce a depth of field for the background. So the good news is there's a 3400 milliamp hour battery inside, and that's quite a lot for a device that's not that high power and it's not a Quad HD display. And plus, Honor / Huawei phones always have excellent battery life anyway. So for my testing, battery life has been excellent and it's been enough to last a full day. So you see, this display, it doesn't get too bright and the colors are just a little bit muted compared to other Honor devices I've tested. And while we're here, we might as well do a video speaker test. So we'll go up to 50% volume first. Single bottom fine speaker grill. You see, completely muffled just with a finger. There's nothing coming out of this earpiece here. 50%. We'll go up to 100%. Yeah, the speakers are pretty poor. Like, there's heavy distortion at max volume and just kind of really flat, teeny sound. So the overall build, as mentioned, it's plastic on the back, so it doesn't feel super premium, but the phone still feels and looks pretty nice. I like the curved sides on the back that fits in the hand very nicely. And just kind of, you know, it's easy to reach all the way across the screen with just one hand. And the top, it's not too far off to reach to. And the good news is Honor software, or Huawei software, actually lets you put a shortcut button here that you can tap to bring down notification shade if you want to do that. I'm happy to report that the Honor 10 Lite runs Android 9.0 with EMUI on top. So you guys know I don't love EMUI, but I don't hate it. I think it's getting better by the year, but with every new release, EMUI looks more and more a little bit more acceptable to me. Like 2 years ago, I just thought it was like the ugliest software ever. Now, I think it looks pretty clean. Like the app icons aren't that garish anymore. I think this phone looks good. So since there's Android 9, that means one of my favorite new features of Google, it's here now. That's Smart Rotate. So previously, when you use a smartphone, you have to decide to leave auto rotate on or off. Like if you leave it on, so sometimes, you'll be sitting on the bed or on a couch and you're reading something or looking at a photo and you accidentally tilt the phone too much and it will just automatically rotate when you're not trying to rotate it. But conversely, if you turn it off, then sometimes when I do want it to rotate, it won't rotate and I'll be like, oh yeah, I have to go turn it on. So it's a little bit of a hassle. So now with Smart Rotate and Android 9, the good news is you no longer really have to worry about leaving this on or off, because if you rotate the phone and the phone senses that you have rotated it, a little icon will pop up asking you, do you want to just flip it? And then likewise, when you flip it back, a little icon asks you, do you want to flip it back? Then you can just do that. So you get to decide in each specific case whether you want the screen to rotate or not. Okay, so let's talk about the cameras really quick. So the camera app, it's very similar to previous Honor devices, actually exactly the same as previous Honor phones, very similar to Huawei devices. You cycle through all these different modes. You have aperture, night, portrait, photo, video, more, and more you have AR lens, which lets you put a 3D avatar on the real life scene, time lapse, pro mode. The pro mode is actually pretty useful, and filters and all that. And the camera app, it's pretty easy to use. It's pretty responsive. Shutter speed is pretty fast, but the photos produced are kind of average. Now I'm picky because I get to use all the newest phones. So if you're someone who only use budget devices, entry-level devices, then maybe this will be okay. But in general, the camera just really struggles with dynamic range. So you look at the shaded area here, it's really dark. It's not supposed to be this dark, like it's a sunny day outside, and a lot of times I find that you have to choose, like this scene right here for example. So this is a pretty nice shot of the street, but you look at the sky, it's completely blown out. Like today was actually pretty good weather. It was blue skies with a little bit of clouds. You can't see any of that. The sky is completely washed out because too much lighting is being pulled in. Now if I want to fix that, I can tap on the screen to dial down exposure and I get this image. So now with this image here, now you can see the clouds a little bit and you see a little bit of the blue. But instead now down here, it's quite dark, so you have to choose. You have to choose either a well-lit street and blown out sky, or you see a little bit of the sky, but then the photo is really dark. So you have to make choices like that all the time. But sometimes the fact that this phone can pull in that much light actually works in the phone's favor. For example, I think this shot turned out very nice. The reason for that is because there's like this really moody contrast to the scene. Like you have a blue sky right here and you have heavy sun, and then right here you have this shaded area that's really dark. So it kind of looks pretty cool. It looks like a movie poster. I mean, check out how dark this shaded area is. Now, if I use a phone with a better low light camera, this area actually wouldn't be so dark. You actually be a bit better lit and more balanced all around. But as it is now, this is actually a very moody, atmospheric photo that I kind of like. So now you see same thing right here. This shaded area is just completely dark. Like you can't really see much details of anybody. It's just not a really well lit shaded areas. And again, it's because this phone just doesn't have a micron pixel size that large to pull in lighting. If you shoot this with another phone, you'll actually be able to see what everybody's wearing, how the faces look like and all that. But otherwise, colors can be pretty lively and punchy. And as mentioned, shutter speed is fast, so you can shoot moving cars and you won't have to worry about blurring like some other devices I've tested. So now looking at low light photos, it's respectable actually for a budget device. This is inside the hotel lounge at the W Hotel, so it's like a very dark area, very moody. I think the shot is okay. Right here, little bit lack of clarity, a little bit of noise, and again you see this light, it's completely overexposed, so the balance isn't that well. But again, for this price range, I think this low light shot is respectable. Now this shot is a complete mess, completely blurry, but that was because I was in a taxi. Okay, so we'll check out videos really quick. The Honor 10 Lite can only record videos at up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. So you cannot shoot 60 FPS and there's no 4K. So yeah, there is no stabilization, so you know it's a little bit jerky. But the visuals look nice, it's a little bit punchy, but you see it struggles a little bit with exposure again. So yeah, very jerky video, and you see back here it's completely blown out, but not a bad video at all. So as mentioned, the chipset inside is Kirin 710. It's not that powerful, so when you play a graphically intensive game like Hero Hunters, the game defaults the graphics at regular. And even in regular, you see the graphics just aren't that crisp. And then if you actually want to upgrade graphics to high, then you'll see like frame rate drops pretty heavily. So this is only high. If you use a Kirin 980 or Snapdragon 845, you can actually go even 2 levels higher to that. You can go to Ultra. So there's no Ultra setting on this, and even when you play on high, like there's frame rate drops right now, and it's not as smooth. But you know, Hero Hunters is a really graphically intensive game. So when you play something lighter like JCS2, you actually see that graphics here are okay, frame rate remains consistent. So that's about it. There's not much more to talk about this phone. This is the Honor 10 Lite. I don't think there's pricing yet in Hong Kong, but in Europe, I believe it's priced at 200 euros. At this price, it's okay. I think if you're paying 200 euros for this, you might as well pay a little bit more and get something like a Poco phone or even a Xiaomi Mi 8. And plus, Honor has a lot of other phones coming out that probably isn't even that expensive. Like, you're probably better off just buying a flat out Honor 10 for another 100 euro on top of this, or get something like the Honor Play. That's a kind of more powerful phone with a bigger screen, better build, and it's probably only like 50 euros more at this point. So this is the Honor 10 Lite. Now I have got my hands on the Honor View 20. That's that phone with the hole punch camera in the corner, but unfortunately I cannot reveal anything about that phone yet. I can probably make a video of it the first week of January. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to my channel and pay attention. In first week of January, I'm gonna have a video of the Honor View 20. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.